All right, guys, welcome back to episode 5 of the FranTastic Review. I'm your host, Melo15, my disembodied voice, like always, Jo. Tonight we got something special. We got Across the Spider-Verse and The Flash. We're going to be reviewing both of those movies, so if you have not seen them, feel free to come back whenever you have, and because we're going to talk major spoilers and, the cons and the pros and, everything that goes along with that. So we're gonna start off with Across the Spider-Verse. Justin, bro, I saw it before you did. I remember coming home that night. I was so hyped to tell you guys about the movie. I remember messaging our group chat like, "Hey, bro, this is one of the best comic book movies of all time." That's I almost want to say it's better than the first one, even though the first one is amazing. And the only thing that there's two gripes about this movie that I have, right? I just want to get that out the way real quick, right? So for Across the Spider-Verse, there was no Sunflower, right? The first movie had the Sunflower track, right? Which, like, bro, that song was huge. Remember, every kid in the store was singing it, whistling it. My nephew and niece at the time were like way younger than they are now. They were like word for word singing it, stuff like that. So that song was huge. It's hard to, replicate that. So I thought they were going to be able to do it, though. I actually had faith that they were going to be able to replicate that success, but the soundtrack for Across the Spider-Verse wasn't bad at all. The second gripe I had,
The song has 2 billion views on YouTube.
that's crazy, see? I mean, straight up and down, like I think that song's success really helped the movie's success, too. It went hand in hand, in my opinion, but the only other gripe I can think of about Across the Spider-Verse is, like, just the fact that it ended. Like the movie was really good. And a lot of people were really mad that it ended on a cliffhanger. I wasn't really mad about that. Like, how else were you going to end that movie? If it's like a trilogy, we have to set up the next movie. I mean, I guess you still could have set up the next movie without ending on a cliffhanger, but I thought it was cool. It was almost on some Empire Strikes Back type stuff, dude. You got, I thought it was, well, because when at the end, when his mom, when Miles' mom's like, oh, who's Spider-Man? I was like, okay. Remember when she said that? I was like, what do you mean, who's Spider-Man? So did you have any gripes about the movie? I mean, what was your. I know you really loved it, though, so.
I think it took a little too long to get into like I don't even know what the right word
Like
is.
the main plot? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like it started off really good, and then right after the whole vulture scene, there's like maybe 30, 40 minutes where it's just dead narrative story. I don't even know what you would call it. After the vulture scene, they have like him, fighting the spot for like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then from the school on, it's just like nothing's really happening. I mean, I know they're setting up for everything, but for like 30, 40 minutes, it's just like, it's really slow.
I can kind of see where you're going out with that. Like, they did a lot of character building, between him and his family and his mom and dad and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I can see a lot of people not really, you know what I mean? But it was, before I went into the movie, I didn't even know it was 2.5 hours long.
From the school, when he leaves the school, all the way up until he leaves with Gwen, like however long that is, it's just kind of just.
That was a good chunk of the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't,
It's still good, but it's just really slow.
I know there was a lot of nitpicky stuff that people were talking about, like the pregnant chick. Like, why is there a pregnant chick fighting? Which I didn't really. Because then Peter had his daughter there at all the battle. Peter had his daughter there at all the battles and was like literally putting his daughter in danger.
Mm-hmm.
But people were like, oh, there's a pregnant, which is kind of okay. I get what they're saying. Like, a pregnant chick, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, does she have to be pregnant? You see what I'm saying? Like, that part, I'm not gonna say like I hated it, or you know what I mean. Like, I'm not gonna say like I hated it, right? Like, I just didn't really pay attention to that part.
Like, what significance does that?
Yeah, like, why does she have to be pregnant?
Yeah,
right. Because they made this version of that Spider-Woman black, right? So like, so the first time we see a black Spider-Woman, she's pregnant, fighting. I mean, what was the point of that? But when Peter had his little, his daughter with him, and he's also putting his daughter in danger. So, but I mean, like, I feel like a lot of the stuff about this movie is just really just nitpicky, right? Like, there's not. It was just it was really, really well made, really good storytelling, right? Obviously, the animation rocked. I mean, there's not much to complain about. And this is probably gonna be one of my top Spider-Man movies ever. Like, if we ever do a ranking of the Spider-Man movies, I mean, clearly that movie is like probably top 5, probably top 3, top 5. It's awesome. I don't really you know, and I'm excited for the next one. They're saying it's going to end that universe of the animation. So they're probably preparing to do Miles in live action, which bring it on, bro. You know what I mean? They could probably still do both though. See, this is the this might turn into like a Sony rant, but like Sony has so much they can do with Spider-Man's universe. We talked about this before we shot this, and Spider-Man's rogue galleries alone, his rogue galleries, like his villains alone, almost like they might be better than Batman's, right? There's not another superhero that has that lengthy of like a rogues gallery and like all the like the side characters. Like, so you could still keep Miles in animation, then have a live action Miles. Do Tom Holland in the MCU, have a Sony Spider-Man. Then you can have Andrew Garfield's universe, Tobey Maguire's universe. You can have a Spider-Man 2099 universe. You see what I'm saying? That's like already 8 things right there that could probably make you a lot of money. You know, we talked about this before about the Tobey Spider-Man and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. If they would have come back and do another movie, that's guaranteed big ass money, dude. They're not losing money on that unless they like, you know, shit the bed, right? Which is another thing that frustrates me with Sony is because Sony, they'll make a movie like, you know, Across the Spider-Verse and then Kraven the Hunter. You know, they'll make, you know, Into the Spider-Verse, then there's Venom 2, where Venom's at a rave with like glow bracelets on, you know? So I don't like, Sony's really literally just like, they'll shoot 100 and then the next game 0 for 100. Then they'll shoot 80 for 100, then the next game it's 10 out of 100, right? Like they're really like hit or miss.
Yeah, which shouldn't make anyone excited if they end up doing a live action Miles adaptation. Because their live action movies, for the most part, aren't that great.
No, like I mean, let's look at it. Morbius, terrible.
I didn't like any of the. Well,
the Venoms were fun, but they weren't
cool.
good movies, bro.
Yeah, they're not good movies, but they were cool for what they were.
And it's like, okay, everybody likes Tom Hardy. He's like a star, right? So cool, we get it, right? Like I get why those movies are popular, right? You should see some of my nephews when they talk about Venom. Like I get
no,
why
but
it's popular, right?
that was I was gonna say that too. That's the second Venom. That's how you know it was bad because we took him to go see it and he didn't give a single fuck about that movie. And I thought I was like, oh damn, Venom, Carnage,
And
like,
I remember
he didn't care at all.
He gave 2 shits, bro. You know, and then you add Craven too. Like I know me and Warren have been debating this. If you guys don't know who Warren is, you know, he helped me start Say What's Real, important to this channel. So shout out to you, Warren. But me and him have been debating all week about Craven because the trailer, like because you showed me the gameplay trailer, right? About over the new Spider-Man game. Craven looks amazing, and he looks good, bro. He sounds good, looks good, like everything. Like I feel like that's an intimidating villain, right? But then when you look at the trailer with Aaron Taylor Johnson, what is that, dude? Like seriously, how do you even? I mean, they're probably going to try, right? But listen, bro, we got the ick. We got the fucking ick when we saw the Morbius trailer, and it's just giving me that same feeling, right? So
yeah, I don't like it either.
when Sony has a track record of this, of like giving you the ick, then that's just what I see when I watch the Craven trailer. I'm like, oh, but how do you explain this Craven even having beef with Spider-Man, right? Like, how would you even possibly begin to explain that? Right, they should have just like the gameplay trailer. I felt was more Craven than the live action. Like, see, that's what I'm talking about with Sony. Like, they can give you the gameplay one, right? They can give you a good Craven, and then in the movies, it's I don't want to kill. I want to hunt poacher. You know, like what are we doing?
He doesn't even talk like that.
I know, but I'm just making his dad does, but I'm just making fun of him. You know, don't call PETA on me. I like animal. You know, like what is happening?
I was gonna mention that too when you were talking about like having a live action going on and then having the animated still going on. Like they're doing that kind of already with their video game universe that they're making.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're doing that too either, because I'd have to look it up. Let me actually look this up real quick.
While he's looking that up, guys, for Across the Spider-Verse, I have not many complaints. And honestly, Justin, maybe this might sound like I give that movie a 9 out of 10, bro. Across the Spider-Verse gets a 9 out of 10. And I think that's a really, really fair rating. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because, like I said before, like, there's like little parts of it, like little tiny itty bitty, like, you know, There's not much to complain about, bro. Yeah, like the movie ends on a cliffhanger, and yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's not, I feel like everybody, like, you could take your kids and enjoy it. You can enjoy it by yourself. You can enjoy it as a family. Like Across the Spider Verse is just gonna really well put together movie.
The video game came out September 2018. The movie came out later on December, so 3 months later. They introduced Miles in the video game. Then you have a movie about Miles later on, so you're like, oh wow, I want to go fucking see the movie about this character that I just played out in the video game.
Yeah.
Then they have that whole thing. Then they're doing that again they're making the Craven movie at the beginning of October, and then the video game Craven is gonna be at the end of October. But I don't know why they're doing that, because like everything is like
Different.
It's they're not even following the same storylines, which is cool. They don't have to, and they can make different storylines. But I don't see what the point of that is.
No, yeah, you're right. They don't have to, but like, you're giving us so different characters
And different stories and different everything, like so close
like
to each
you're
other. It doesn't
doing
make any
one
sense.
really good, and then like it's almost like you have a different division for the live action who just doesn't give a fuck. Like they're just like, yeah, they probably sat in a meeting room, bro. They were literally like, hey, this version of Craven with Aaron Taylor Johnson, he just kills poachers, and like he doesn't like animal violence,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really hunt.
I shouldn't have to say spoilers because this whole fucking video is a spoiler. But in the first Spider-Man video game,
Mhm.
okay, in September of 2018, Miles' dad dies in that video game. That's how you even know who Miles is, because
Yeah.
Peter saves his dad, tries to save his dad, and he dies. That didn't become a thing until when the movie came out last month, which is like 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, because I was speaking of that. Like for the next movie, they're not killing his dad, bro. They're not fucking.
Which
His
would
mom's
prove
dying,
my
bro.
point. Is
I
like,
think his
why
mom's
there's
dying,
like
bro.
there's two completely different things going on at the
Yeah.
same time, and they're not even connected to each other, but they're like being marketed with each other.
I think Miles has to have a canon event to become because every Spider-Man has one, right? I think his mom dies, bro.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's why they spent so much time with her in this movie, right? Because it's like a bait and switch, right? I guarantee you, next movie, bro, it's gonna be his mom and his dad's the one that lives. They're gonna go forward and kill his dad now. Like we're already expecting it. What we're not expecting is either Gwen Stacy to die or fucking his mom to die, and that would be Miles's like moment. Like every Spider-Man has, right? Every Spider-Man has that canon event that like completely makes you who you are. We talked about this a little bit last night too after we saw The Flash. What do you rate, by the way, before I get into that, what do you rate Across the Spider-Verse? Do you give it a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10? Are we balling 10 for 10 here, bud? Or what are we
Oh
doing?
no, I think it was a really good movie. I think it was like really good.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would rate it off the top of my head.
It was so good.
You
It's
could
really
say like
just-
8, but I feel like 8 is kind of. I don't know.
What about
Isn't-
cons? Like, what is your con of the movie? Like, is there...
My only con of the movie was just they had like I wouldn't even say a dry spell, but like it's because I went to go watch it with like
the kids? Yeah, okay.
So like I'm trying to think about like their perspective of it.
Yeah.
For me, I enjoyed it, but I could see like
Why a kid wouldn't?
a younger audience like
Makes
that
sense.
that 30-40 minutes of the movie just like really had nothing going on. But
Yeah.
the payoff and everything, that whole movie was fire.
I
like
agree.
The soundtrack is one of the better parts, even though they didn't have a sunflower.
Which, hey, you can't bull perfect every game, bro.
Mhm.
So, we just saw The Flash last night too. So we're going to go into Flash now. We saw The Flash last night, and we were speaking about canon events because, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is very similar with that, multiverse, time traveling, yada, 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 right? I don't want to talk you guys' ear off about, we know, right? So the canon event thing, right? But it's important because like that is what I really, really loved about Across the Spider-Verse is that in real life, it's like that too, right? Like in the moment when bad things happen to us, we're like sad, we're depressed, we don't like it. It's like very like it gives us anxiety, like it's hard to deal, then but your future self is looking at it as a, hey, without that moment I wouldn't be who I am today. I would not be sitting here talking to this camera if there was certain things in my life that never happened, right? So I could sit here and like complain about my stepdad who was abusive, or I could complain about my stepdad who called us names all the time and bullied us and just told us we wouldn't be able to do something, but then you wouldn't get me here. So that's what's important. That's the message I love about those movies, is yeah, like messed up stuff's gonna happen. It's life. We can't control it. You literally can't control it. It'll happen regardless whether you dream your best dreams. But it makes us who we are, and like you should feel proud of that. Even if you're a person who's done really bad things in your life, or you feel like you've let everybody down, or people have let you down, you always look at it as like what Spiderman and them said. Look at it as something that without that, would you be what you are today? Would you even have the same motivations? Would you have the same dreams, the same goals? Things change and everybody needs character building, right? Like, you can't just like, the kids who I respect the most are the kids who kind of had similar upbringings as we had. Like the kids who had similar childhoods. Those kids, you could tell they had to earn everything. They had to grind, they had to earn. They don't like to take things for granted. Things just don't come easy for them. They have to. So, but yeah, we saw speaking of that, we saw Flash last night, which Twitter, bro, we got to stop listening to Twitter. First of all, Twitter, this is the weirdest part about The Flash is because before the movie came out, everybody was praising this movie, from YouTube critics to film critics, to like bloggers who were invited to see the movie early. I mean, this movie was like getting touted as like the best comic book movie of all time, and James Gunn and them were like pouring so much love into it, and everybody was like, remember all the reviews I sent you to send? One of the best movies of the year, like right? And then when the movie came out, it just did really bad. And I don't want to say it's all because of Ezra Miller, because you guys aren't that dense, right? Like, especially the people who watch me, I'm hoping that you guys aren't that dense and you didn't go see a movie because of Ezra Miller. Like, if you sat there and said, I'm not going to go see it because Ezra Miller's in it, like, I really hope you didn't do that. I really hope you didn't. Because I've said this before, like, people vote for literal pedophiles and people vote for like war criminals, and you gladly put them in office that are in charge of like people's laws and like how we do things around here. So I'm really hoping that's not what it was. But I think what really killed the movie for me was when James Gunn took over and I'm not going forward with Henry Cavill. We're rebooting this entire thing, and I'm gonna keep certain things from like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, but the rest of this is going. I'm gonna change the ending now, so like Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot aren't in it. I'm just gonna change some stuff around, and this is what we're going forward with now. I think that's what killed the momentum for Flash. James Gunn did it, dude, and he can't be surprised, right? James Gunn, you can't be surprised, man. Like, everybody was excited because, hey, they're gonna bring Henry Cavill back, and finally let's give Superman the justice and respect he deserves. And then you're like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing that, bro. We're gonna actually do a different thing. Which now you've made it to where you literally have to hit out of the park with the Superman Legacy, or you're done. I don't know if you agree with me, Dustin, but if Superman Legacy, here's what it is, bro. Superman Legacy has to make $1 billion, and it has to do really good review wise, or how do you go forward with the DCU? How does James Gunn even have a successful DC universe if that movie doesn't do good, right? I know a lot of people think I'm dramatic, bro, but bro, people's grandparents know about Superman. People's like, you can go to different countries and people who don't speak English, and you can talk to people who might not fully be up there. If you say, hey, do you know who Superman is, bro? Everybody knows who Superman is, right? So how does a Superman movie not make $1 billion? Like, how does Aquaman 1 make over $1 billion? How does Black Panther make that type of money, but Superman can't make $1 billion? Something's wrong, clearly, right? Something's wrong when Superman can't make that type of money. Like, something's wrong when Batman v Superman can't make that type of money. Like, something's clearly wrong there. Like, they're not doing it correctly. So going into The Flash, we saw that. And like I said, like, if I would have just listened to straight the Twitter critics, like, I wouldn't even have gone and saw it. I wouldn't have even saw it. But
I didn't really plan on seeing it either until you asked. Because like what you said earlier, like, it literally means nothing to the grand scheme of things.
It doesn't, and it's sad because a lot of people talked really, really down about the CGI. Yeah, the CGI wasn't that good, but it wasn't movie ruining for me. The director said that they did that on purpose. Do I believe him? I don't know. Did he make the CGI bad on purpose? I don't know what to tell you, because almost every DC movie has bad CGI. When DC does use CGI, it's not really that good. So when the director says we did it on purpose, did you? I mean, I'll believe you, bro, if that's what you're saying. But besides that, plot wise and story wise, the Flash wasn't that bad of a movie. Obviously, it's like,
So I'll let that slide if that's actually an intentional thing, but I don't think it was. I think
me
that they
either.
probably just found a way to cut a corner and
Yeah.
took it. But the stuff that is not intentional was like, I even pointed out to you like mid movie. I was like, hey, dude, like, can you tell that he's like CGI'd?
Oh, the other Barry. Yeah.
Because it was just really bad.
Yeah, there was certain angles where you could definitely
Yeah,
tell.
and then
And like if we're going with different Batmans, like because Michael Keaton's Batman, right? We could have gone with a different Barry Allen, but then like his mom in that universe were like, "Who are you? You're not my son," right? So I get why they did it, but
so what would you call that when he's in that little ball traversing time?
I guess basically that, just traversing time and
So when he's doing that,
yeah,
and the CGI is showing you like memories or like moments,
and like other universes,
and it looks like
yeah.
someone said it looks like Polar Express.
It
Like
kind of did look like Polar.
that stuff, okay, I'll let that slide because his explanation makes sense. But when he's doing the other stuff, like he's just like running fast trying to save the hospital, or he's running fast trying to,
That stuff looked bad.
that
bro.
stuff looked bad, and I know they didn't do that shit on purpose.
Like the way I think it was the way Ezra Miller was running, like when he was like
Yeah, and
he was like doing it on purpose. Like it was
The-
almost like a
the dog that they had during the hospital scene, all the babies that they had during the hospital scene.
yeah. I mean, and it's 'cause he put a fucking baby in a microwave. That shit was hilarious, dude.
Like that kind of stuff, it just looked bad. It like looked fake. It kind of just like, oh damn.
I mean, it was really, really good to see Ben Affleck back again. Oh my god, I love that scene with him as Batman. If that's how we end it, kudos, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, that was fucking amazing, bro.
that kind of stuff was that was the CGI that was like, all right, cool, this isn't that bad.
I mean, it kind of sucked the last time we see Wonder Woman, or Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It's like a sex joke. I mean, that's how we ended off with her. I thought we were all
Yeah.
woke. I thought we were woke. I guess we're not woke now. That's what we're,
But like
I-
all the other CGI stuff that they're complaining about, like Nicolas Cage.
I guess Nicolas Cage wasn't CGI, bro. I don't know if that's true or not either, but the director came out and said that he was on set for that. I mean, obviously they de-aged him, bro, right? They
Yeah,
de-aged
like
him, but
that
like that, but like they said that he was on set for that, which I told you this after we got home, but there was a YouTuber who I used to watch every day. His name was John Schnapp. He made a documentary about the death of Superman Lives, what happens, and it was about Nick Cage almost playing Superman in the 90s, right? So I thought that was a really cool moment, bro, because I had grown up watching so much YouTube with this guy, and he would talk about, hey, check out my documentary, you guys can, buy it and support me. And it's cool that like they literally showed Nick Cage's Superman fighting the spider.
Yeah,
That was really cool. They had Christopher Reeves. I didn't think that part was like horrible CGI. I mean, obviously it was CGI, but
I think all of that stuff looked bad. But like, if what he's saying is like they intentionally did that because they're in this
like warped time.
That then like kind of just gotta like let it live. But the rest of the stuff, I wouldn't let slide because I know they didn't do that shit on purpose.
Supergirl wasn't bad at all. Like she was actually a really good part of the movie. I didn't mind her at all. Like obviously the actress looked great. Like she not only did she was attractive, but she did great in the role. I wouldn't mind if they brought her back as Supergirl, bro. I wouldn't mind if James Gunn said, "Hey, we're gonna bring her back, and like when we reboot this, like she'll be a different version of Supergirl." Go ahead, bro. That she did good.
I think she said she wants to as well, huh?
Yeah, she did actually. Yeah, I saw that before we went to see the movie. Michael Keaton's Batman. I was cool to see him again. I mean, it was funny because when you first see him, he's like hella long hair and a beard and doesn't want to do anything. He's like, then all of a sudden he's like shaven and cut hair. Where did he get a haircut at? Seriously, I mean, you know what I mean. I don't want to be nitpicky here, but like, he's like, let's get nuts. That little Michael Keaton
He
voice,
says,
like
nuts.
nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
You want to get?
Remember yesterday
Let's get nuts.
let's get nuts. Remember yesterday we saw the movie. We were talking about like what if it was Mike Tyson as Batman? Hey, what are you guys doing? You guys want to go fight that? Or...
Thought.
Hey,
General Zod.
General Zod, you must be Zod. Hey, yo, General Zod, you're a punk. But You know, it was kind of sad too because like Michael Keaton's Batman dies in this movie, right? He gets fucking packed out. Which, you know, that scene that you're talking about where he's actually fighting one of the Kryptonians and people had a problem with that. He died because of that. So yeah,
Well,
like
he died because like he got like, yeah.
yeah, like he did die because of that. Like, you know. So I mean, it's not
But
he was kind of getting his punches in, but like he ultimately died, and then that guy still lived, right? You know, Supergirl ends up dying in this movie, and no matter what Barry and the other Barry do, they can't change that, right? It was almost like again the canon event thing. Remember, he's like, hey, no matter what you do, you'll try to go back as many times. You cannot change us. This has to happen, right? Which is what, like, ultimately at the end of the movie, both Barrys realize, and they, you know, they fix everything, right? You know, me and you asked too throughout the movie, like, who killed Barry's mom. I guess, you know, the director came out and said it was in the second movie, it was going to be Reverse Flash.
I thought it was gonna be him. Like
Yeah.
he was gonna like he realized that he had to go back and do that.
Which that made sense when you pointed out to me in theaters, like, oh,
But I guess yeah.
you know, so you know, the second movie, imagine it's Reverse Flash, like I'm the one who killed your mom, I'm the one that even started all this, right? So, but yeah, I mean, the Flash, it wasn't as bad as people say, man.
No,
And
it definitely wasn't.
No, and like, you know, a lot of people had a problem with like, oh, so they're not going to use Superman, but they're going to use fucking Supergirl, huh? Like, you know, like a lot of people who are against women being in movies. Like, I get why people say that, right? Like, because it seems like a lot of companies will just cram down, let's make female Thor now and let's make female Captain America or whatever. But, you know, she played the actual character Kara, his cousin, you know? It wasn't like Kal-El as a woman, right? It was literally like her character in the comic books and the source material. She's Clark's cousin. She comes here on a pod just like he does. The actress did really great. Like I said, the ending was funny too because it ends up being George Clooney, which a lot of people who leaked that like months ago when I was showing you guys that, they were getting clowned for that. You guys are horrible leakers, and that's not even true. That doesn't even make sense. But it ended up being George Clooney that walked out of the car, right? So, from my understanding, Ezra Miller's Flash isn't in the DCEU anymore. He's in another universe now. And I think that's the perfect way to send him off. Right? Hey, Ezra, you've done too much fucking weirdo shit. We can't really have you like tied to this company, but we'll end it to where your Flash is stuck in another universe. Right? And the DCEU will have its own Flash that isn't tied to that. Perfect way to end it. I mean, honestly.
That isn't a fucking real life criminal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, someone is, you know, he's like, oh, I'm just here to steal your liquor, you know. But I
don't know, bro. I don't even know how he became Flash in the first place. I don't remember exactly what his performance was like in the Justice League movie,
the
but
Flash movie was being talked about in like 2015, 2016, bro. That was a long fucking time ago.
his acting was kind of bad, dude. Or maybe that's just like who he is and like
I
how
think
he
it's well
acts,
to me.
but-
I think it was because we saw a lot of videos, like you know, when he like was trying to call out the Ku Klux Klan and like all those videos of him at the bar, like being a troll and fighting people. So when you see him talk in the movie, he really does come across as like a huge they them, bro. Like, and no offense to they thems, like I love you guys, but you know what I mean. I know some really good they thems, like honest people, but you know, I'm talking about them like the midgets or like leprechauns, but like no, real for real, like I know a lot of cool they thems. So it's
But
not that you're a they them, but like clearly Ezra
His-
Miller like came across as like a huge they them.
Yeah, his whole vibe was just. I don't know how he became Flash in the first
You
place,
know,
dude.
So I
I said
actually
the same thing about Shazam. Shazam, like it. I imagine him so much differently, and then the actor that plays him is just like a complete fucking goofy.
oh yeah, Zach is that. Yeah.
Like, wow, I have superpowers now.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow, yeah.
that's not Shazam, dude.
I actually hope for Superman Legacy they get David Cornsweet, bro. Like get my guy from Pearl Dog. I showed you him, you know, or Jacob Elordi. I actually hope they get Jacob Elordi for Batman, dude. I've been trying to tell people about my boy Jacob, dude. They don't like him because he's in Euphoria. So anybody who's ever done Euphoria, they can't do other roles. You know what I mean? Everybody does that online, bro. You mean that fucking bitch from Euphoria, dog? You know, like everybody gets like hella mad, like, oh, so they can't be in other roles? I don't get it. What are we doing here? They can't, you know what I mean? Listen, like Jacob Elordi looks like Batman. You're telling me you wouldn't kiss him? Honestly, like look at a picture of Jacob Elordi, bro, and you're telling me that's not Batman. I'm sorry. I was cool with him being Superman too, but once they pointed out David Cornsweet, you know, get him. He's literally like a younger version of Henry Cavill. And I know what
He does kind of look like him, yeah.
and I know what people are gonna say. Well, you could have just had Henry Cavill. Well, clearly James Gunn doesn't like him, bro. Or they wanted to go with the younger version of Soups. Which, yeah, bro, go with the younger version. And if you get David Cornsweet, dude.
I think they had to, right? Because if they're gonna try to do like this whole 5-10 year, you know,
they're gonna have to go with someone who can fit the bill. Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
get David Cornstalk, bro. He literally looks like
because
that.
if you get like a
Superman, dude.
30-year-old now, they're gonna be 40 by the time the movie ends. Or if they're like in their mid 30s, he's
Yeah.
about 50. Like, how old is Henry Cavill right now?
I think he's in his mid-40s. Look it
He
up real
could
quick.
be,
But
yeah.
while he looks it up, for the Flash guys, I'm gonna give it an honest rating. It's gonna be a 7 out of 10 for me. That's not bad, bro. I mean, yes, the CG. There's a lot of bad CGI parts.
He's 40 right now. So if
Okay.
they were to like continue on, I think maybe 50 by the time this ends.
Yeah, and see, I mean, they could do it, but does he want to do it? Right? I give Flash 7 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating for the Flash. There's a lot of shaky CGI parts. The controversy with Ezra Miller. You got the James Gunn coming in and like changing the ending multiple times, and just like the fact that this movie doesn't mean shit after you watch it. That's why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. But the shining moments for me in this movie was Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman, bro. Those two, like I had a lot of fun watching those two. Supergirl wasn't cringy. A lot of because it could have been very cringy to send. Like like she's just like this, like how like floating and just like angry. But when she acted as Supergirl, like, it came across natural to me, right?
Yeah.
It didn't come across as like cringy or forced, or like she's like, "Where's my cousin?" Like it's just like it was like it came across like it was natural to me. So
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that her character is probably one of the
shining moments
Yeah,
of the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ezra Miller, he just something about him, bro. Like I'm if he's not the Flash anymore, I'm kind of glad. There's something about him that is I can't shake off, bro. There's just always this like it just like I told Justin this last night when we watched the movie, but I had seen the Ku Klux Klan video before the movie, and like that's all I could hear
Mm-hmm.
when he was like, "Bye," and like it's like and like and you know what you're doing, so if you keep on doing it, you just might as well shoot yourself with your own gun. It's like it's like, bro, like the whole thing just seemed like, and he was wearing his flash ring in that video too, in the Ku Klux Klan video, he's wearing his flash ring. So I mean, like honestly, bro, what he should have done, what Ezra Miller should have done from the beginning, and I've been saying this, he should have just came out, and I'm definitely like mispronouncing. I'm like not using the right pronouns for him. So I mean, we're already too late. It's too late, bro. I'm not gonna go back now. You know how much of a pussy I would look right now if I go back and use his actual like preferred pronouns. I feel like once I made that first mistake, you gotta double down. But yeah, once Ezra Miller, once he did the whole, what we,
The Ku Klux Klan video.
yeah, like, yeah, that's what I was gonna say is, he should have just came out like out of all the crimes he was like doing and like being accused of, he should have just been like, hey, I'm like role playing as Reverse Flash. I kind of got caught up in it. Like I'm not really like that. Like I was only trying to like role play and like do method acting. I think people would have bought it, bro. Can you imagine if Ezra Miller came out and was like, "Hey, I'm just method acting, bro. I don't really like groom kids and like beat people up, and well, I do beat people up and steal liquor and stuff from people's houses, but like I'm just like this is just a role I'm trying to play. Like how can I be the Reverse Flash for the second movie if I'm not like I would have came out and said I'm method acting, and I guarantee you, bro, people would have bought it. I would have bought it. Shit, dude. I mean, I feel like our presidents, like Joe Biden, method acts like every day, bro. So I mean, like you telling me Ezra Miller can't do that? But what do you rate the movie?
It's probably like a high 6, low 7.
Yeah, that's a fair one, dude.
And then for the Spider-Man movie, I'd probably give it like a high 8 or like a low 9.
Yeah.
I think the Spider-Man movie was like really good.
A high 8, low 9.
But I think like you can't really give it a 10 because I feel like 10 is like, what's a 10?
I feel like The Dark Knight is a 10 with the Heath Ledger. I mean, there's only a couple 10s that I can think of, but
like I would put it up there, dude. That was a really good movie.
yeah.
The Flash was a good movie. It definitely wasn't as bad as everyone made it seem like it was, but
I feel like, guys, if you want to see Ben Affleck's Batman one more time, you want to see Gal Gadot one more time, you want to see Michael Keaton's Batman go out, you want to see Supergirl, like a good version of Supergirl, you just want to have a good time, you want to kind of see where the Snyderverse ends and where like the new beginning, like this is, I think you should just enjoy it, bro. I would just go enjoy it. Don't listen to people on Twitter because literally this movie got so much praise before it, and then now because of Ezra Miller's alleged crimes, like everybody's like jumping on the whole this movie sucks and he grooms kids. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but like don't jump on the hate train because like that's what the internet's
no,
talking
I mean was a good movie.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the fantastic review. Our fifth one, guys. Thank you for joining me. Like always, thank you for you guys on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, bro. I keep having to thank you because the last 2 weeks have been really great numbers. If you guys can share those links with people, like if they don't like video format stuff like this, cool. But share the link. This episode of the Fantastic Review will definitely be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts this week because obviously I gotta put something out there. I can't let that shit die out there. But and yeah, and like I said before in previous Fantastic Reviews, I do this for my dear friend Fran. Obviously, I miss her a lot, and it's been really hard not having her around to like talk about this kind of stuff, and just she gives me her feedback on the videos. So I will forever honor my friend this way. And if you guys like the Fantastic Reviews and want more, just comment below and let us know what you want us to review. I'm down to do if you guys want us to review something, me and Dustin will do it. So, but yeah, until next time, guys, peace.